Welcome to Off the Beat. My name's Fabian, and this is the place where you get to discover your own sound, hopefully. So today we're talking about output exhale. And to answer that question, should I buy it? And really, I think the answer to that is a definite yes. It's so versatile, which we're going to talk about soon, and you're going to learn about it all. Exhale runs through Contact Player, so I've left a link to Exhale itself where you can purchase it, and to the free Contact Player where you can download it below. So check those out. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to break this review, I guess it is, up into like 3 different parts. I'm going to show you this first part, which is the main section, and then I'm going to show you the engine section, which is an absolute beast. But then I'm going to show you another part of that engine section, which just takes this thing to a whole new level. So first up, we have this main section. And what this is basically just a place where you can choose from one to 250 presets, and that's just in this note section. And what this note section is this just acts like a normal MIDI note. So you push a C plays. Push a D plays. And there's just all these different presets. And they all sound like just rich, and they sound amazing. But then if we come into loops, what this does, we also have 125 presets in loops. This plays a loop for every MIDI note you push. Now, slices is exactly the same as loops, but rather than playing individual loops, it slices up one loop so you can play that across different notes of your MIDI device. You can hear how they all kind of sound like they're coming from the one loop. And once again, there's 125 presets in here, so there is a buttload. There's like 500 presets to choose from. Now, because these are already loops, means to change the key signature of those loops, we have to come up here and choose the scale. So maybe you want like a G minor or a G major. Okay. There is so many awesome sounding presets here. And because there's so many presets, it's kind of hard to like figure out exactly what you want. So that's why we have this little filter system here. So just say you want something like pure, maybe you want something atmospheric, and then that'll do. We've got like just a few sort of options here now that fall under that category. So let's use Exhale now to chuck a vocal chop over this cool song I've started. You can see how easy that is to come up with a really catchy hook and melody. So we just covered all the easy stuff, all of the simple stuff, but this is where Exhale really shines, and I like to call this beast mode. It's really called engine mode, but what it is exactly like a synthesizer. It's like Serum works. You have your oscillators or your sound generators, and then you run it through filters, LFOs, ADSR envelopes, all of that stuff to generate your sound. This works in exactly the same way. So if you understand synthesis, you understand how Exhale works. Okay, now it's time to take a look under the hood of this thing and check out the engine. Now this is where this thing shines. This is where it comes to life, and this is why I think it's worth the money and why you should buy it. Now if you understand synthesis, then you understand this VST plugin. We have 2 oscillators here, source A and source B. We can actually choose the sound, choose the waveform of these oscillators by clicking on this button, and then we have these one-shots, pads, and tapes, which are kind of like loops, but one-shots we turn off oscillator B here. So we can just hear oscillator A. Check out some pads. That sounds nice. Some like loopy sections. Like there is so much stuff here to choose from, and that's just choosing your waveform. So let's just go like whichever one was it. This one? Yeah, this one will do. Now we have an actual EQ. If I turn on both oscillators, we have an EQ for each oscillator. That means we can completely EQ each one separately, and we can also change the envelopes of each one separately. That's what makes this thing so powerful. Now, underneath the oscillator section, we have the LFO section, and we can use this LFO section here to create rhythm and to modulate any of these effects here. We have another row of effects down here. We can't modulate those with the LFO, but all of these effects we can map to these 4 faders so we can automate them in Ableton or whatever DAW you're using. So let's say we want to turn on the filter. We have a filter for oscillator A and a filter for oscillator B, making this thing even crazier than what it already is. And I want to send some of this filter to some of the A filter to oscillator A. I'll speed up the rate a little bit. Let's check out oscillator B. I want to send some of B. Let's check out with both of them now. That sounded pretty sweet. Maybe we want to add a phaser in here as well. Add a phaser. Let's go add the peak up a little bit. You can also send this to the LFO. Maybe crank the reverb up a little bit. Throw some delay in here. We can even change the pattern here. Maybe you don't want a sine. Maybe we want a square. Like, this thing's crazy. You've even got like step sequences, and you can change this, like change these steps yourself. You can change how many steps you want. But for this example, I'm just going to leave it wave. I'm going to leave it on a simple sine wave. But there's like these crazy shapes in here. You got medium, then you got super complex, and they all just kind of mess up your sound in weird and interesting ways. One of my favorite things I like about this rhythm section though is the flux option. Now what it does is it creates a secondary rhythm behind this rhythm. So you've got this waveform, this LFO shape here. But then if you click on the flux edit, this is another rhythm that kind of impacts the main rhythm. So let me show you what it does. So it's got this normal wop 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 plus all of this other like into it, kind of blending it into this like weird ass rhythm. So that's full flux rhythm now. This is like 20% flux and the rest this normal rhythm. So you can use this flux thingy to get really creative and really turn your sounds into something super creative. Now you're probably thinking, but Fabian, this VST is so good, how can it possibly get any better? But wait, there's more. So if you love vocal chops, then you will love this VST because you can actually customize every note on the MIDI keyboard to be a different vocal chop. Let's check out how to do that. Okay, so I've shown you under the hood of the notes section, but we can also dive under the hood of the loops or the slices section. So click on slices, then click engine, and now you can see we have a completely different interface. Now this is where this thing is like really unique. This is why I like this thing. So you can see we got this little MIDI device here. Now what this does, each one of these notes plays a different part of the sample. Now each one of these notes, or these parts of the sample, can be affected differently. So you can change the start point. You can reverse it. Let's go to the next one. Let's put a little bit more reverb on here, maybe a bit of delay. Go to the third one. So you can dive into each one of these notes and completely customize it individually to suit your song. Alright, so let's actually make a track using all of the stuff I just showed you.
Always been problems, it's true.